Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about the best bronzers in the world. As you guys maybe know, if you are a longtime subscriber, bronzer is my favorite product. It really just like transforms the way your face looks. So I did do a video about like a year ago, maybe a little more than a year ago, about the best bronzers. Things have clearly changed since then. Before we get on into it, I just wanted to say hi. If you are new here, I am Kendra. I post 3 beauty/lifestyle videos a week. I'd love to have you join the family. I love my subscribers. Also, if you haven't yet and you wanted to, you should check out my social medias. It is at KendraCus on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. If you'd like to follow me there, I'd love to have you. Not really much else to say. We got a lot of bronzers to talk about, so let's just, you know the drill, get right on into it. Okay guys, so I have some affordable options, some at the drugstore, some online, and then I have some high-end options. I do have, let's count. I do have 9 bronzers here. That doesn't mean that all of them are as good as each other. I'll kind of let you know which ones are the best and which ones are like not my absolute favorite, but they are one of my favorites. You know, they're all mixed in here. I'll start off with probably the one you've heard me talk about the most, and that is the Marc Jacobs Tantric bronzer. This is the Omega bronzer in the shade Tantric 102. They do have the new coconut one that just came out a year ago. It was limited edition. Now it's a regular product in their line. This bronzer, for like people who love warm bronzers, like this is the most amazing bronzer in the world. I will show swatches throughout this entire thing, so you will see like a hand swatch and everything. But this truly is one of my favorite bronzers. The consistency of the powder, it blends incredibly. It is so finely milled. And it's one of those bronzers that's the perfect amount of pigmentation. Sometimes I find that bronzers aren't very pigmented enough, so I have to go in with so many rounds of like, you know, dipping in and going in. I love the amount that this gives me, and the color is perfect. I love warm bronzers. For my skin tone, it just works a lot better for me. When I start using a bronzer that's a little too cool tone, it really makes me look muddy, especially with my freckles. It blends in with my freckles. It makes me look way too muddy. So that's why I love warm bronzers, and not to mention this literally has the most amazing mirror ever. And like, you could do your full face of makeup in this. In fact, when I travel, that's usually what I do. I always bring this with me. I do my full face of makeup in this mirror. It is pricey. It is $49, so I can totally understand if you like knock it off your list. I get it. But if you're looking for something that's gonna last you a really long time, like mind you, I've had this since October. I use this at least 2 to 3 times a week since it's my favorite, and I still have a ton of product left. And so it's been like 7 months. I don't even wanna do the math, but that's a lot. That's a lot of days. 2 to 3 times a week for 7 months. The next bronzer, especially if you've been around my channel for like, you know, a while, you've heard me talk plenty about it. This is the Becca Sunlit Bronzer in Capri Coast. This, they have 5 shades, I believe. Look, I mean, look how sad that looks. Do you not just get so depressed when you hit pan on a product? I do. They have 5 shades. This is the second lightest, so there is one I think called Bali Sands that's the lightest, and then they have 5. So they do have the most amazing range, like as far as skin tones, because a lot of brands only come out with like 3 maybe bronzers. A lot of brands do only 2. Some brands do only 1, which is messed up. But I love these bronzers. They're definitely not a contour product because it does have a slight sheen to it, which is one of the reasons I love it so much. This blends like a dream. It has the perfect amount of pigmentation. It is so smooth on the skin, and the sheen to it just gives you the most goddess beachy glow. Looks like you came straight back from vacation from like Tahiti or like Hawaii or like Bora Bora, which is my dream. Maybe one day I'll go there, stay over the water in a hut. I clearly love this. This has lasted me about a year. I think I've had this for a year. It's one of those products that is such a staple in my routine. A lot of times I'll actually mix these two together because this is a matte bronzer and this is a bronzer with a sheen in it, and I actually prefer bronzers that have a sheen in it, so I will mix these together a lot of times. It's just a great combo, great products, love. For the first affordable option, I have the ColourPop bronzer in California Dreamin'. I mean, not only does this have my favorite name ever, California Dreamin'. You guys are new to my channel. I'm born and raised in California, but currently live in Salt Lake while my husband finishes school. It's really cold here. Obviously not in the summer. It's hot now, but you know what I mean. This bronzer is so gorgeous. I've never had a bronzer color that is just like this. It is so beautiful. It's amazing on like light and medium skin tones. If you have super fair skin tone, it might be too warm for you depending on how you like it. But ColourPop has like 5 bronzing shades and they work really well for all skin tones, so I highly recommend jumping on their website and checking them out. They have like 2 that have a shimmer in them, like a really, really slight sheen in them, and then the rest are matte. Like this one is a matte one. I'm obsessed with this. I go back to this all the time. I love the compact. You can either buy it in a pan or the compact, like you could add it to one of your magnetic pans if you had one. This blends like a dream. The pigmentation is so like stunning and easy to work with. It's not like a lot of drugstore bronzers where you like, they're super powdery and you have to be really careful when you work with them because they can like look super patchy or muddy or go on way too harsh and they don't really blend out. Or if they do blend out, it blends out to a patchy mess. This blends out like a high-end, gorgeous $50 bronzer. I'm obsessed with this. I will always repurchase this. Something to note too, just while I'm going through, is like every single color of these bronzers is going to be a little different. And I think that's why I love them. Like some days I'm going for like the California Dreamin' super warm bronzer. And some days I'm going for like my Becca Sunlit bronzer that's like warm but more on the neutral side with a lot of sheen to it, you know? Everything's different. Okay, the next bronzer is quite new to my collection. This is the Lila B Sun-Kissed Bronze Beauty bronzer. First of all, this weighs like 15 million pounds. And it comes in this cute little pebble packaging. I actually bought this on the Sephora VIP sale, so I did get a discount off of it, but it is $42 for not that big of a product. Let's compare. This is $42 and you get 0.32 ounces or 9 grams of product. This is 9 grams of product for $42. This is 25 grams of product for $49. This is like, you literally get less than half. You get like a quarter. What's 9 times 4? You literally get like a third of product for $42 where you could get this for $49. Anyways, that's a little ridiculous. It's way pricey. But if you're in the market for a good bronzer that has a gorgeous sheen to it, like I love the way this looks on my skin tone. Unfortunately with this brand, they don't have a lot of shade options. This is literally their only bronzer, so that is a huge downside. Hopefully they do expand their shade range soon. I know it is a much smaller brand, so I think they're starting from small and growing, hopefully. I love this. I think it's worth the money. It blends out like a dream on my face. I love really building it up because it has this gorgeous sheen to it that makes you look like you are just a bronze beauty, and I love it. But it is pricey and it may not be worth it for you, and I totally understand, but I wanted to mention it because it is newer to my collection. I've already fallen in love with it and it totally is a staple for me. The next thing is the Too Faced Baked Luminous Glow Bronzer Sweetheart Bronzer in the shade Sweet Tea. This is an amazing bronzer. I have definitely gone in on this. I love how shimmery it is, but it never looks sparkly. You never see speckles of shimmer on your face. It just blends into this gorgeous glow. This has 2 sides, but I always just, you know, mix them in together. One of the reasons I bought this, I think, was because Kathleen Lights has loved it for years, and so I eventually splurged on it. It does have a different formula than the Milk Chocolate Bronzer or the Chocolate Soleil Bronzers by Too Faced, but I do prefer this one just because there's a sheen to it. But the Chocolate Soleil Bronzers by Too Faced are also amazing. They're really good for contour because they do have more of a neutral undertone, and they're matte, whereas this is obviously has a beautiful sheen to it. It's got a really, like, it's more sheeny than a lot of other bronzers. Does that make sense? Anyways, I highly recommend this if you're in the market for really glowy bronzer. This is, like I said, one of the more glowy ones, so if you're not into that, then you might want to skip this. I prefer glowy bronzers, but this is probably my most glowy bronzer out of all my bronzers. More than even the Becca one or the Lila B one. I love this though. Love the formula, highly recommend it. The next thing has been much talked about a lot on YouTube, and that is the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. This is in the shade Bronze. They have a lighter shade, and I do believe they came out with more shades. Haven't tested out the other shades. I like this one the best. The reason this isn't my all-time favorite is because I feel like I have to do so much building up to get the right amount of color, and it is a little bit more cool toned. It's not that it's cool toned, it's just way more cool toned than what I prefer. It is definitely more neutral, so I wouldn't consider it cool toned or warm toned, but I prefer warm bronzer, so that's why this isn't one of my favorites, and it's just not as pigmented as I prefer. But I know a lot of people prefer less pigment, so you might prefer this. I've had this for quite some time, little over a year, probably about a year and a half, and I still go back to this occasionally. It is a great bronzer, especially if you're on a budget, and especially if you like a more neutral toned bronzer. Not to mention it smells like a dream, because it smells like coconuts. But if you're really sensitive to smell, you might hate it. I love it, so I have one cream bronzer to talk about, and that is the Milk Makeup Matte Bronzer. I have the shade Baked. There is one darker shade. I think it's called Bronzed, maybe not, I don't know. This is a gorgeous color. Definitely can't use this for contour. Anyways, I love this. I use this so much. I have to remember to use it though, because sometimes I'll do my concealer after my foundation or whatever and powder my face, and by that point I can't use this anymore. So I have to remember, like, Kendra, use your Baked bronzer by Milk Makeup before you powder. But it is great if you love cream products, especially for summertime. This is your girl. Like, you need this. Genuinely, you need this because it is an incredible product. It looks so gorgeous on the skin, and it looks so natural because it is a cream rather than a powder. So I highly recommend this. You'll see the swatch. I love the color. It is a great formula. It lasts all day, and I just really love this. I've recently been finding out how much I love Milk Makeup's products, so I love this. Next, we have this Urban Decay Beach Bronzer, and this is in the shade Bronzed. They only have two shades. They have one lighter than this and this, so like, I do really think they're missing the mark. They really need to expand their shade range, but this color is so gorgeous. I love this for my skin tone. I do have to kind of go in with a light hand. It is quite pigmented, and it's obviously actually the shade they made for medium skin tones, because there's a lighter shade for, you know, girls like me, but I like this color better. The lighter one just wasn't as warm as I wanted it to be. This is so beautiful though. It blends out like a dream. I'm obsessed with this color. One of the reasons I've fallen in love with it is because of the color of the product. Like, it is just such an amazing color for bronzer. It is so creamy. Like, it doesn't feel chalky. It doesn't feel too powdery. It is so creamy. I love it so much. I love blending it into the skin because it blends in so beautifully. It looks seamless on the face. I never look patchy. It never looks muddy. I feel like it is one of those like so easy products that like you can travel with because you just can like throw it on. You don't have to worry about it too much. I kind of feel like this one, and this one. These three bronzers I feel like are so easy. Okay, as I was saying, these three bronzers, I feel like the three are in my collection that are so easy. I can just throw them on. I don't really have to worry about it. If I'm like quick and I need to just like get out the door, I'll like throw one of these bronzers on because I can just do like a few swipes. It's blended out, it's beautiful, it's super pigmented, looks great, and you don't have to worry. The last bronzer I wanted to mention today is also an affordable option. This is the No. 7 bronzer in the shade Golden Sand. I believe they do have 3 shades of bronzer. First of all, the packaging is so cute. I love No. 7's packaging because it reminds me of the Charlotte Tilbury packaging, which is amazing, especially with like the lines in the bronzer here. The compact is really awesome, especially for the drugstore, because it looks so much more bougie than it is, and you've got a great mirror in here that is quite a good size. Like, if you needed to do your makeup in it, you totally could. I love the shade of this bronzer. It is actually not as warm as my other bronzers, but it has this like caramely effect to it that I really, really love. Like, it's called Golden Sands, but I just think it looks like caramel on the skin. I love it so much. These blend out amazingly. Like, these bronzers, these No. 7 bronzers are really, really awesome. I kind of have a similar, I don't want to say problem, like that I do with the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer, where it's just not as pigmented as I want it to be. I don't really think that's a problem because, like I said, some people love bronzers that are less pigmented because you don't have to worry about like overdoing it. Why does the train always go by at the worst time? After 2 minutes, the train is finally gone. Don't even remember what I was saying. Oh, I think I was saying, like I said, some people like bronzers that aren't as pigmented because they really like to work with it and not have to worry about overdoing it, and I can understand that. But I just prefer a little bit more pigment, and that is why this isn't like my top favorite from the drugstore or affordable option, but it is one of those, and I highly recommend these. You can buy No. 7 at Target or Ulta. I know that it is a UK brand, and so I know that it's, you know, in the UK as well. So shout out to any UK followers. Love you guys. I wish I was there with you, but yeah, you can find this over there too. Okay guys, I know that this isn't the same quality as you saw before, but I wanted to mention one more bronzer. This is the e.l.f. bronzer in, let's see, what does that say? Warm. And it has these 4 squares. I usually avoid this one because it's literally a highlighter, but everything else is this gorgeous bronzer. And I haven't had this for very long, so that's why there's not a huge dent in it, but it truly is an incredible bronzer from the drugstore, and it's like $4 or $5 tops. I will show you a swatch. So this swatch right here is all 4 shades mixed together. This is the 3 deeper shades, and then this one is just this warm shade this one right up here in this corner. It's my favorite shade out of all of them, but I will mix these three together to get the look. I just really think this bronzer is worth it, and definitely give it a shot. Obviously I have my flash on so it looks sparkly, but on your face it does not look sparkly at all, even in the slightest. It just looks like this gorgeous glowy J-Lo like, but yeah, this just really gives me like J-Lo glow vibes, and I think everyone needs to try it because it's such an affordable option. And I love the compact because you have this huge mirror, and Elf is rocking it. That is enough talking for now. Those are all my favorite bronzers. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please let me know by giving me a thumbs up. I'd love to hear what your guys' favorite bronzers are as well. So let me know down in the comments down below. I'd love to check them out or try them out for myself, because as I said, bronzer is my favorite product, probably right next to brow products, but bronzer for sure because it really just transforms your face, and I love it. I'm gonna let you guys go though. Have a great morning, noon, evening, day, night, whenever it happens to be that you're watching the video. And I will see you in my next one. Bye. I need more hours with you. Girls like you go but I don't know the words. Do 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 do. Yeah 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 yeah. I need a girl like you.